Hello, everyone, and welcome back to the Psych Legal Pop Podcast. This is a podcast where we talk about popular culture through the lens of an attorney and a therapist. I'm Tess Brigham. I'm the therapist.
And I'm Brooke Brigham. I'm the attorney.
And today we have a jam-packed episode. We are covering Sister Wives, Season 20, Episode 6, Kissing Another Man's Wife, which we'll get into.
Episode 5? I thought it was episode 5.
Oh, maybe it is 5. Sorry, everybody. I'm way ahead of myself.
Yeah, I think it's 5.
5. Apologies. Season 20, Episode 5. Just feels like it's been 6. Okay. Also, at the very end, I am going to talk about the I don't know really what to call it, but like Janelle is now a life coach, and apparently she's been life coaching for a while. This is what she tells us, but I tuned in for the her live
second chapter.
It's that second chapter coaching in her live. She's calling it workshop or seminar or whatever it is, but really, and I know these things, and I've actually done some of these things myself. It's a big giant marketing ploy to get people to buy something from you, and it was. I'll tell all about my thoughts about it because I think there was good and bad in all of it. So, yes, I'm going to talk about that. But before we dive into Sister Wives, let's talk about Special Forces because it was there was a little bit of Kody, a little bit, but not that much. But he was, of course, being awful to why did they keep pairing him with Gia and Brianna? They keep pairing him with the youngest women, and he treats them like they're idiots.
I don't know who decides. I guess the drill sergeants or whatever they're called must decide these things. But yeah, we saw a little bit more of Kody. There were a couple of challenges. There was one where he was paired with Gia and Brianna, and it was this thing where he was supposed to be the leader, I believe. They had this challenge where they had to get all these supplies. They had to go into this
enemy territory
zone. Yeah, there's these bombs going off, and they have to get these supplies and take them from one place to another, basically. So they're having to carry all of these heavy, they're like boxes, like trunks, like metal trunks, and different things. And so, you're trying to do it as fast as you can and before these explosions go off and whatever. So, of course, Kody doesn't take into account anything they have to say.
Yeah.
He doesn't listen to them. He just, because they're trying to tell him, wait, we need to, and he's like, no, just go, just do it. He's barking at them, and he won't listen to them, and they're struggling because he hasn't effectively told them, this is what we're going to do, and this is how we're going to do it. And he's just pushing them, and they're like, wait a minute. They're trying to catch their breath, and they're trying to get a hold of what they're trying to carry.
Yeah.
They keep dropping it, and it's just a hectic scene because he's just shut up and go, kind of, I don't think he said shut up, but that's his attitude. Just go. And at the end of it, I can't remember if this was a pass fail thing or what it was, but
it's all pass fail.
Yeah, so I don't think they passed. And then there was another challenge where they were in pairs, and they had to backwards dive off of this very high platform over water, and they had to do it perfectly in tandem. And so they had to communicate with each other about, okay, we're ready, set, go, whatever. So he was with Gia, and Gia was very calm, cool, and collected. And she sort of took over this challenge. And but they still failed because
he wasn't listening.
Yeah, they didn't go off the platform at the same time, so it wasn't in tandem. You had to be perfectly in tandem, which is very hard.
Yeah, I think the idea of it is that there's no hesitation.
Right.
Right, go, and then both of you have to not hesitate.
Right.
So if one of you hesitates, then that
and she was the one giving the orders. It was ready, and then they'd cross their arms, they practiced it. She
Mhm.
said, "Okay, this is what I'm gonna do. I'm gonna say this, and as soon as I say this, at the end of it, that's when we go." And I think, yeah, Kody was the
Mhm.
one who hesitated because she was giving the orders. Because,
Yeah.
oh, God forbid he listened to her. So, yeah, it was all about Kody not listening to these young women.
Mhm.
And then in a talking head, he said that they asked him something about his leadership or something. And he's like, well, this is really strange. I said something about, well, I don't know about leadership or if I'm that good of a leader, but I just know that it comes from if you're uh
It's about
the
masculinity.
masculinity and yeah, and masculine if you're masculine, your masculinity just automatically makes you
Mhm.
a leader and that
He
people will
uh,
respect you.
he
I don't
says that
know.
he I don't think that I'm a leader. I'm like, "No shit, Sherlock."
We all know
I've
that.
been
Yeah.
saying that for as long as we've had this podcast. But then he gets into this whole thing about being a man, but, like, to him, being a masculine man is
Mhm.
the most critical, important thing,
Mhm.
ever in your
Yeah.
life. So, like, that is all you can be.
Mhm.
That is the best thing to be, and can I just talk about the shirt he's wearing? He is wearing the shirt in these talking heads that I swear to God has never been in style, ever, ever, ever. It's this royal blue, shiny silk, probably polyester blend shirt that is so weird looking. Do you not notice that? It is so odd. I'm like, where did he get this shirt from? And who said, okay, wear that? It's just,
I don't know.
it's ill fitting. For
Hmm.
someone who's
I
so
haven't really
vain,
noticed. Yeah.
some of his outfits are really, ugh. Anyway, that
Well,
shirt drives me
his
nuts.
personal style is
Oh,
not
ugh.
the greatest, but
Anyway.
yeah, the episode in general was a good episode. A lot
Hmm.
happened. Like right up front, they asked, "Does anyone want to leave?"
Yes.
And Ravi Patel, is that his name?
Yeah. And Nick
And
Young.
then Nick Young, they were out, and they really tried to get rid of that Chanel Iman,
Yeah.
but she stuck it out, and she
Yeah.
in the end, she was the only one who didn't take any candy from that
Hmm.
box that they it was a trap that they left, and she was like, "No,
Hmm.
I don't think so." And they had all in the beginning said that she was the least trustworthy. It's like,
Yeah.
"Oh my god."
Well, and
It was a good episode.
it was, and I'm glad we got to hear a little bit more of her story. I didn't know who that was. I think I was getting her mixed up with, Iman, the
Right,
model
well,
who
she's
married
much older,
David
yeah,
Bowie, who's a
yeah.
lot older. They have children, and I thought, "Oh, is this one of their kids?" But then I was like, "Oh, wait." So she is, I guess she is, part, African American and part Korean.
Mm,
And her mom actually, so her dad's Black, her mom is Black and Korean. So you
interesting.
can see a little bit, I mean, she's
Yeah, I can
gorgeous,
see that now.
but she talks about this. She talks about, "Hey, when I showed up, I was not the look that people wanted."
Mhm,
I wasn't that, and I've had to figure out, and we've covered enough, um, documentaries about modeling in this show to
mhm.
know, like, that models are, not treated with any respect, and they're put in a lot of uncomfortable
Oh,
situations
that
with a
woman has
lot of
seen
men.
yeah, she's seen some things, and she
Yeah,
said she started modeling at, like, 12 or 13, she's
yeah,
now, like, 32, so she's been doing this for 20 years,
mhm,
so that she's seen some things, and she is street smart,
yep,
and that's why she knew, what are you
yeah,
doing with that box?" Like,
yeah,
that's
don't touch
right.
that.
Yeah,
Don't,
"That's not yours."
yeah. So, yeah,
Yeah.
she is smart. I do think that the things that they're saying to her, though, they're right, which is, listen, the minute your mind decides you can't do it, you're not gonna be able to do
Mhm.
it, and that's absolutely true. Like,
Mhm.
the mind is a huge part of this, but what bugs me about the show is, and maybe someone in the military can tell me I'm wrong, but the whole idea is they say, "Well, this is how we punish." In the we punish in special forces, by humiliation. And I'm like, is that really how people learn? Like, we all know people don't learn or grow
Like,
from that.
react
So
well to
why
that.
are we still subscribe? I mean, so I can understand in the military there are certain things that it can't be what is typically human behavior. Like, it's different. It's a
Mhm.
different, and I get that completely. But I would really love to know why they continue to do humiliation. Why is that still the quote unquote best punishment for someone.
Well, they kept saying a lot in this episode that I think the reason behind it is that this is so important. You're talking about people living or dying,
Yes.
like
Yeah.
your mistakes, your hesitation, your whatever could mean someone dies because of you. And it's
Mhm.
really super critical. And that's not something that as a normal person we
Yes.
go around thinking all day long. So, yeah, they have to put you into that mindset. And that seemed to be what this episode was all about. But it's interesting. But then when they go into those therapy sessions
Yes, yes.
with the drill sergeants, then it's I like that. I like the balance of, we have
Mhm.
this really intense training, but then, we can see the human side of yeah, I don't know. I love this show.
Yeah. It's fascinating.
I'll just keep watching it, whether
All
Cody's in
right.
it or not.
All right, but we have got to talk about Sister Wives, people, because it's the holidays
Yes.
and everybody's got that festive cheer
Oh,
here.
yes. Well, gosh, Jen, I hope Jen's getting a big paycheck for being on this show because she's basically Mary's partner now.
Yeah, yeah. I mean,
She's
she
nobody.
has to do everything with Meri has to do everything with her because who
Yeah,
else would she talk to?
no. I mean, I think Jen seems to be enjoying it, I guess.
Yeah.
But, when are they going to move past? I don't know. We'll get into it. But
Mhm.
yeah, so we start off at this place in Parawan, Dee Dee's Farmhouse Cafe.
Mhm.
And it just looks like Christmas exploded in there.
Yeah, it's one of those weird places, and I've eaten at a few of these places where you're like, "Is this a restaurant or a store?" Do
Yeah,
you know what I mean? It's like a little
exactly.
bit of
Yeah.
both, and you're kinda like, "But the restaurant isn't quite set up the way a restaurant should be." But then you have all this stuff, but you got tables in the middle. It felt very uncomfortable, very uncomfortable. I don't like those kinds of restaurants because then what do you got people like shopping behind you? It's just
Right?
weird.
There's all this Christmas merchandise. So,
Yes.
yeah, and Mary mentions that Logan, texted her or whatever about getting her candy cane recipe.
Because I'm gonna tell you right now, Logan's like, "Well, I'm Daddy Logan, and I've gotta take care of all of the West Coast
Right.
kids. I've gotta
Right.
take care," and he's like, "Okay." So Logan's
Yeah.
like, "All right, I gotta start the traditions," and he is probably sewing pajamas, right?
Yeah,
Taking
he's
care
like,
of
"Mary,
things
can I borrow your sewing machine?"
because I gotta take over.
Yeah, I've seen Mary post pictures in Las Vegas with like Hunter and
Mhm.
Logan. So they're obviously on good terms, so that's
Yeah,
good.
yeah. But I just
Yeah,
thought it was so funny. I was like, "Of course, Logan's gotta take care of business."
that's right.
So, yeah, and this is the other thing too, is poor Jen always has to ask about the family because 'cause she's gotta ask these
Yeah,
questions. And then they get into the whole thing about Coyote Pass, and there's been no movement, and,
because Cody won't communicate.
yes, and, yeah, Mary's upset that Christine's and we just talked about this on our book club, Christine's section went to Kody and Robyn, there was never a conversation, and Mary's right.
Yeah.
It wasn't fair to Christine. It wasn't fair of Christine, and again, that's the problem with this family. There were no checks and balances. There was
Mhm.
no like system for how you're going to deal with things. It was literally Kody just bugs you
It was
until you give
Cody's
in.
way or the highway, yeah.
Yeah.
Because Christine also mentioned in the book that her her portion of Coyote Pass was worth more than her house on
Mm.
paper,
Mhm.
but she just wanted so badly to just be rid of Cody and get
Yeah.
the hell out. She
Cuz she
didn't
knew
care.
that Coyote Pass was going to take forever to try to sell.
Right.
She was like, I got to get away.
If
I got to get
ever.
out of
Yeah.
here.
Right. I need
Yeah.
money.
Yes.
Yeah.
So, and then, um Jen is a good friend. I mean, she is saying the things to Meri that Meri needs to hear, which are like, you need to stop being nice.
Mhm.
Meri, like, how much more time are you going to give him? And Mary's like, well, I'm going to give him 6 more weeks. I don't know what happens in 6 weeks.
Well, because there was a potential buyer
Oh, okay.
in the picture, and she's like, "Let's see if this
Mm-hmm.
sale goes through." And I think maybe it did. I think maybe this is the well, we'll see. I'm
Mm-hmm.
not quite sure what the timing is on this. I don't remember, but
But this is interesting
um
because Meri, she doesn't feel comfortable pushing Kody or asking for what she wants from Kody because she doesn't wanna seem like a bitch.
Mhm.
But, obviously Meri has this reputation of being mean Meri.
Mhm. Not with
So
Kody.
okay, so you think that's it? That this is and I think this is the thing. I think, again, I don't think Mary's an angry person. I think she was just angry at Kody, and it all just came out on everybody. I think she was angry at Kody and
Yeah.
angry about the situation, and it just
Right.
she got angry with the people that she knew she could,
Right.
which isn't fair because it was the kids.
Right. Yeah, I mean, she really is when you think about what a doormat she was
Yes.
for so many years. She really is really weak. And that's why this whole worthy up thing, you're kind of like, okay, just because you make a video and
Mhm.
lately, God, she's been making all these videos talking about it's like she's trying to convince herself,
Yeah.
like how evolved and whatever she is about her life and everything. And it's like, okay, Mary, I don't really think deep down inside you really believe this. You're
The word you don't
saying
think
it.
she believes in the worthy up.
I still think she's not practicing what she preaches.
Mhm.
I mean, she has made some progress. Yes, she
Yes.
finally divorced Cody. Okay, that's a big
Mhm.
one. That's great. But then when it came to the Coyote Pass stuff, you know,
Yeah.
she should have filed a lawsuit like ages ago, you know.
Yeah.
So I don't know.
Well, and I think this is what they talk about. I mean, I think it's the difference between Jen, who obviously was raised differently
Mhm.
outside of these religion, and Mary, who was. And in
Right.
Mary's world, I'm sure she was told, you honor your husband and he's the king of the castle
Yeah.
and la 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 la.
She's still very affected by the
Yeah.
religion, even
Yes.
more than Christine, I think, at
Yes.
this point.
Because I think Christine went through her own thing of leaving. I mean, Christine's wanted to leave Cody for a long, long time. And so I
Mhm.
think it was Christina was like this 10-year process of getting there. I think
Mhm.
Mary's just started on this. I think Mary is where Christine was maybe, 10 years ago.
Yeah. That's true.
So,
That is true.
but
Okay, so now we're going to Greenville, North Carolina.
yes, so I guess Christine, David, and Truly came in from Utah for the holidays. There's this whole discussion about whether or not there's a cannonball in the front yard or not. I don't know why this is such a fascinating thing that we have to spend all this time on it, but apparently it is or it isn't. Um,
It's not. They explained what it was, but
yeah, I was
I
like,
checked
okay,
out.
I
I
don't
was
care.
like, I don't care what this is. Let's get to the content. But
S-
yeah, this is a pre-holiday gathering
yes.
because of course everyone's got their own families and
Hmm.
stuff now, and so they have to get together before.
And this is where David starts telling Janelle, "Oh, you need to get on Farmers Only." And this, I'm with you on this. This is annoying. Like,
Mhm.
say it once and that's it. But I think he's had this conversation with her many times. I think he says this to her every time
Oh,
they get
I've
together.
heard it yeah, I've heard it at least 3 times.
And that's the
Yeah.
one where it just feels like Christine needs to pull him aside and be like,
Stop.
enough, enough.
But I think Christine thinks it's funny. I think Christine is in agreement with him, but also, did you notice that Janelle is again making her famous Pillsbury, cinnamon
Yeah,
rolls?
Maddie got another roll at the
Yeah.
at the grocery
Looks like
store.
maybe she made 2 batches
Yes.
since we have all this company here today.
Well, we learn that one of the reasons why Janelle is not interested in dating is because Cody was a lot of work.
Yeah, it was high maintenance.
He was very high maintenance, and Christine was like, "Yeah, he was. He had a lot of specifics, dietary specifics, grooming
Mhm.
specifics. There was always I'm sure everything was exhausting with him."
Yeah. Yeah. And then it's revealed that Janelle likes, Javier Bardem and
Mhm.
Sam Elliott,
Yeah, which
which are
I
2
get.
2 very different people. Yeah, I get both of get both of those, but those are 2 very different types.
Yeah, well, she likes Sam Elliott's voice, who he has a very distinct
Yeah.
voice. So I know Javier Bardem, yeah, I can see both of it. So,
Yeah.
I don't think
Well,
I mean, Sam Elliott there might be a Sam Elliott type on
Sam
Farmers
Elliott,
Only.
I see more like she could find a Sam Elliott type, in
Mhm.
North Carolina, I
Yeah.
believe.
Yeah. Just
Just go
let her.
hang out at the local bar or, or like,
Yeah.
you don't even have to go online. Look, once upon a time, people went
Yes.
to bars, met people.
Well, she's gonna have this business. Like, people know who she is. It's a little
Yeah,
like, you're gonna be around people. But I
yeah.
I do think that this sort of, and there's another moment in time where we talk about this is about Aurora and Brody, and there's something that Kody says about, "Congratulations, you're someone's girlfriend," that I was like, "Oh, F you." Like, this
Mm,
idea that this is like,
this is your
Janelle.
goal.
Yeah, even though Janelle has just, moved across the country, bought this property, lost a son,
Mhm.
rebuilding her life, it's always about, well, who are you gonna be married to?
Right.
What man is going to be in your life? And it's like, why?
Well, and I'm surprised this is coming from David because his wife died like 8, 10 years ago, something like
Mhm.
that. And,
Yeah.
he's been dating and single and whatever for a long time, so he should know that, chill out.
Well, and also you lost your wife to suicide. Like, Janelle's going
Mhm.
through something.
Right.
Yeah,
This is less than a year after
Garrison.
Garrison died. So, yeah, calm down.
Anyway, all right. So let's go back to
Okay.
Flagstaff. Oh my God. All of these Flagstaff scenes with Kody and Robyn are so, we need them. They're necessary and they're hilarious, but they're so painful. So painful to watch. Really
Yeah.
painful.
Well, yeah, we meet them in their new house in one of their garages because they
Yes.
they make comment that Cody says, "Where's my drums?" So what? He's in a band now. He's playing drums
Yeah,
and
of course, Kody probably spent 2 grand on drums that he probably never played.
yeah. Oh, well, they're in the other garage, the second
Yes.
garage,
That
and
garage is
this garage,
huge.
the garage is huge. It looks like about a four. You could fit four like trucks in there.
Yes. It's
But there's
huge.
no room for a car because it's filled with boxes, all those totes, like dozens and dozens of totes
Mhm.
and tools. Those expensive, you
Yeah.
can have the Black& and Decker or, whatever brand with the yellow and black, whatever that is. All these tools and then shelving full of the totes and the boxes. They have so much shit.
Yeah. Well, and then we
Ugh.
learn all about, like, how did Kody handle all these wives, and in the beginning, he used to, put everything in a bag and, like, go from wife to wife, and then he figured out, oh, having sets of 4 would be great. But again, Robin's acting like, well, now he has these sets of 4, and now we have 4 of everything. It's like, and Meri mentions this. She's like, Kody had been gradually taking stuff away from my house for years. So I'm sorry,
Mhm.
there was nothing at Mary's. Like,
No.
where I find it hard to believe. So you kept all 4 of these even though you were not at these women's homes?
You
Like, you
didn't have
never
4
bothered to
sets
throw
of
away the extra
tools.
other, if you have 4 toothbrushes, you didn't think to throw one It just seems odd to me.
No, it's a lie. She's trying to downplay the fact that they have so much shit.
Mhm.
And then they're talking about how they have a box for grandkids stuff. Uh,
Yeah.
okay. And then she's trying to be like too cool for school here. She tries to do a little Cabbage Patch dance or
Mhm.
something. And I'm
Yeah.
just like, what is going on with her?
She's been reading the comments and people are talking about, like, what's up with Robin? Why does she seem like she's medicated all the time? And I
Well,
think she's like, I should be fun. I'll be fun. They'll see
I'm
my
gonna be
fun
fun.
side.
I'm a fun mom.
Yeah.
Look at me. I'm a fun mom. Well,
Mhm.
and talking about comments, this is sort of a little sidebar. If it's true that Robin and Kody read the comments,
Mhm.
I don't know how they are mentally like okay because if if people were saying the things about me that people say about Cody Brown's one of the most hated men in America,
Mhm.
especially among a certain group. Okay, there's
Yes.
lots of people who don't even know who he is.
Yeah.
Okay, but when you think about this sister wives
Middle-aged white
feud,
women hate him.
all middle-aged white women know about Cody Brown. Okay, we are we're a club, we're a group, um, and just the stuff that is said about him. Podcasts like ours analyzing, you
Mhm.
know, everything and talking about this man. I would think, wouldn't that make you just lose your mind? And I don't know how these people live with all of this criticism. Not that
I
it's not warranted,
Yeah.
but it's out there.
I think, my guess would be is I think Kody goes in waves. I think he
Mhm.
goes through periods of time where he will read the comments and get into it and dig into it, and then there's other times where he will, I think, just stay away from it. I don't think Robyn's reading the comments per se, but I think she's hearing it from
Mhm.
Cody, or, she could be up in the middle of the night scrolling through. I mean, listen, I do not read comments about myself. I hate reading comments. I hate, even compliment. I find all of this hard. Even compliments.
Mhm.
I find all of it difficult myself.
Mhm.
So I don't get into any of that, but there are some people that really want to dig in. You always read our negative reviews. I mean, I just don't go on there to read them.
I haven't done that in a very, very long time because,
But you would do that, and why would you
yeah.
keep doing that? Why would you go back
Well,
knowing,
because I'm thinking maybe there's something constructive in there
"Ah,
that,
okay.
and there have been a couple times where I'm like, yeah, okay, that's fair. It all
Mhm.
depends on how the person presents it. Sometimes
Yeah.
people can present some constructive criticism, but a lot of times it's just mean. Like when
Yeah."
people are like, I can't with you two. I mean, that's mean. But if
We get that a lot.
did we watch the same documentary? You're crazy. How could you think that? It just depends. It's all about how it's all in the delivery.
Yes, yes.
So then, okay, so now they're in the garage and Aurora comes strolling
Mhm.
in.
Yes.
Easy breezy. And she
Mhm.
says, "Hey guys, you know the guy that I'm dating?" And Robin's like, "Oh, Brody."
Mhm.
Cool mom. She's like, "Yeah, he asked me to be his girlfriend." And she said, "Yes." And then the camera this was so weird. The camera zoomed down to her crotch. I'm not even joking.
Oh, I
Like,
missed that.
literally zoomed to her crotch, and she had her hands kind of crossed and, like, over her crotch area, and I rewound it, I'm like, or were they trying to show us some sort of ring on her finger?
Oh, like a chastity
Or so
or
I don't know, any kind of
Uh-huh.
ring, and then there was a scene later where they zoomed in on her hand. I'm like, "What is going on here?" Because I couldn't see a ring,
Hmm.
but it was very deliberate. So maybe
Interesting.
there's
I
a
didn't
ring there,
clock
I don't
that.
know, I just couldn't see it. Um, yeah, and then I don't know, I stopped writing notes after that. I was
Well,
just
actually, then that happens where she announces like, "Okay, we're dating, and Brody's I wanna invite Brody over," kind of
Mhm.
thing, and then we have 2 scenes where we go back to para 1 where Meri and Jen are filming themselves going to New York. So, Meri's going to New York for the holidays because she has
Yeah,
to be out there for something, we don't know what. So, we see her,
and they're
um
wearing their Worthy Up sweatshirts.
oh, again, you're much more, you always pay attention to these things. I miss that too. But yeah, she gets into this whole thing about like there's parts of myself that I'm discovering about myself, forgotten parts, these new things are emerging, and she's just talking about how, right, she's coming into her own, and
Yeah,
here she is off in New York, which I've
she's
actually
worthying
never
up.
been in New York around the holidays, which I think I would really like to do.
I was thinking the same thing. I have never been there on the holidays. It's like sort of a bucket list
Y-
thing I would love to do.
you know what it is like, because Steve, who's from the East Coast, he never wants to go back east ever for the holidays because of the snow and how cold it is. And he's always
Mhm.
like, no, no, no. But I'm like, I think it would be, I understand maybe you don't want to go home, but like, I don't know. They said it was cold and rainy, but I think that there might be some really, I think it's part of the ambiance of being in New York during that time.
Yeah.
So I'd really like to do that at some point, but I
Yeah.
do get that, like, because I did that when I was in college. Flying back and forth in crappy weather is really not fun.
Yeah,
So,
flight delays and
yeah. So, and then we have to go to then Greenville, where we see them decorating that tree that's
oh, but wait, I
outside.
wanna say one thing
Oh, yeah.
about, Mary said that there's single men that she might run into on the street in New York.
Yes.
So
Yeah.
she's prepared for that.
Yeah. Well, she switched her dating app.
Right. Yeah, she says whenever she travels, she switches her
Oh, yeah.
location. It's like, "Wow, Mary, you're
Yeah.
just." Yet you won't commit to some guy who's there in Utah who you
Yeah.
met at the you won't even, like, go out on a date with him.
I think she wants to see what's available to her. She wants
Yeah.
to, she wants to window shop a little
Yeah.
bit. So then we go Greenville, decorating Christmas trees. Then we get into this whole thing. I don't know why we needed to talk about this again about how Christine and Janelle are sister wives and sisters, and that she's part of this, they'll always be connected. And I was like, okay, we've been through this. We know this. So
Yeah, I mean, she
now,
does she
yeah.
talks yeah, we just talked about this because it was in her book, because
Hmm.
that they became friends during COVID when,
Hmm.
basically Kody was out of the way because, yeah, he wasn't able he was hiding from COVID, even though he got COVID. He was hiding from COVID, so he wasn't there to, like, pit these women against each
Yeah.
other. And they just started talking on their own and, like,
Hmm.
having their own developing their own relationship.
Yeah, and I think it's also, well, it was around the time too that Christine decided, I'm not going to wait around for Kody anymore. And Janelle was
Mhm.
already not waiting around for Kody. So I think that helped too, where both of them are like, who? Like, what do we care if he comes or not?
Yeah. Right.
So now we're back in
Okay.
Flagstaff. So we got to go back here.
Back to the
So
garage.
back to the garage. And we go through this whole thing of Cody's like, well, did he ask you to go steady or to be my girlfriend? I'm like, oh God, what year is
That's the
this, Cody?
same
Go
thing. Yeah.
steady?
Go
It's
steady. That it's the same thing as asking someone to be your girlfriend.
But Kody Brown is a contemporary of ours. That
I
is what
know.
our parents would say.
Right.
Go steady was never popular for Gen Xers,
No, we
FYI.
would say, well, you'd say you were going with so
Going
and
with,
so.
yeah.
That meant you were, like, committed. But now, like, what Aurora originally said is, well, she said the guy she's dating, and I think the kids say the guy I'm talking to, because
Talking
you're
to, yeah.
talking to first.
Mhm.
And so you're talking to someone, then at some point the guy will decide, I'm going to ask you to be my girlfriend. It's actually
Mhm.
a lot more formal than even like our thing where a guy would ask you to go with him. It
Mhm.
was more like, "Hey, you want to go with me?" And we're like,
Mhm.
"Yeah, okay." Like now they do these whole productions of it. Like,
Yeah. Yeah, and a lot of times men don't even tell you, like, how they see you. Like, Steve never asked me to be his girlfriend, but then one day he referred to me as that, and I'm like, "Okay, I guess I
mm,
am.
yeah.
Alright."
Well, when you start talking every day and spending,
Yeah.
it's becomes obvious. I don't know why you
Yes.
need to like say something, but
So Aurora, I guess Aurora is 22 and she's
mhm.
never had a serious relationship that they're aware of. I just like to
Right.
say that they're aware of. Um, and this again, this is where Kody Brown is trying to gaslight us. Kody Brown is trying to rewrite some stories here because
Mhm.
he says, "Does he look at you with admiration?" And she's like, "Huh?"
Adoration.
Adoration. Sorry. She says, "Huh?" And Kody says, "Has Brody looked at you the way I've looked at your mother?"
Oh God, gag me.
Which is bleh, so gross on so many levels. But it's a little bit of, oh, I mean, this has been his agenda this entire season. Look how hot I am. Look how hot Robyn and I are for each other. We
Right.
just have been wanting to rip each other's clothes off for 15 years. We finally, can do this now. And here we are. And he has to keep, like, you didn't need to ask Aurora that question. That question was about you, Kody, and you making
Right.
sure that
You're
people
showing off.
know that
Yeah.
that's the way you look at Robyn,
Yeah.
so that you can feel special.
Yeah, well, did you do that with your other wives? Or I mean,
No. I mean, but that's the thing, is that again,
yeah.
it's all performative.
It's
It's
it's all
all
performative.
performative.
Yeah. So then Aurora says that they're praying about the future.
Yes.
That's her response to
They've been
this.
preying on it, preying on, what's gonna happen. Yeah. Robyn, of course, wants Aurora to take her time because she doesn't want poor Aurora to do what she did, which is give away
Yeah,
her s
get knocked up and then have to get married.
give away her purity,
Mhm.
Okay, and this is where Kody says, "Well, congrats, you have a boyfriend." And I'm like, "F you." This bugs me. Like this so this the first time you've ever said congrats to Aurora? Like you got a man. You
Yeah.
got a man. So
You
therefore
you
I'm going to
did it. You got a
congratulate
boyfriend.
you got a boyfriend, which is the only thing that a woman should ever want in her life.
I know.
It's
W
so sexist,
Well,
misogynistic
now,
and gross.
Did Cody really say this? I wrote this down, but I have a hard time believing that he really said this. He says, "Aurora has told him that she wants him to protect her in these dating situations." And then Cody starts comparing his divorces to this. He says he knows what can happen if it goes wrong.
Yeah, his
So,
whole narrative now is, well, I need to make sure that Aurora is ready for marriage, or I want to, now that I've been through all these divorces and all this heartache, because now I know everything.
right. I know
Um,
everything about relationships, divorce, you
yeah,
name
because I
it.
just had a bunch of them. And like being divorced 3 times doesn't mean that you know a lot about relationships. It just means you were divorced 3 times. So yeah, and this whole thing about protecting, and he has this whole other thing too about like men having to protect the woman, but almost protecting the woman from themselves. That
Yeah,
was this
I
whole
mean,
thing he was
there was
talking to Brody about, which was a little bit like, okay.
Cody has so much gobbledygook word salad
Mhm.
discussions, confessions in this episode. It's hard to
Ugh.
follow.
And after he'll ask a question, he'll be like, "Oh, that made no sense." It's like, yeah, it didn't make a lot
Yeah.
of sense,
Now you
Cody.
know how we feel. We're trying to figure out what are you trying to say?
But that's what I'm saying. That's why it's performative. You are talking to talk. You are talking to fill the air, and you're talking about yourself and your
Mhm.
own wacky theories. And again, I think that when you're the preacher of your family and you get to do Sunday sermon, I think you can come
Mhm.
up with these crazy, wacky, wackadoo things. But I'm going to
Yeah.
tell you right now, if I talk to my clients about like in this way, well, this is what this means, and this, and then it's like it's so makes no sense. You haven't thought through anything that's coming out of your mouth. It's just coming out.
Mm.
And then he
Mhm.
realizes, "Oh, I've just said all that." Anyway,
Yeah, and he doesn't even know what he just
yeah.
said.
So we got to go back to Greenville with because they're making and decorating cookies. And then we get into this whole thing about health insurance.
Mhm.
Now, I thought this is where Janelle talks about like how, sometimes she would have health insurance through her job so she could insure her kids. Kody could insure Meri and Leon because Meri was the legal wife. Blah, 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 blah. And then she says, well, there was a period, we didn't have health insurance. So we used a lot of home remedies. And how she said, yeah, there was a period of time where I didn't have insurance for like 2 months. And Maddie's appendix burst, right?
Mhm.
2 months? Like, I feel like Janelle is kind of downplaying this a little bit,
Yeah, she
like,
is
"Oh, I
downplaying
just
this.
happened to,
That's a
in this,
coincidence. Yeah.
a weird time in my life." I mean, just a couple months where I didn't have insurance, and this one moment in time, this is where Maddie had a major medical problem. I'm like,
Mhm.
"No, you didn't have insurance for years and
Yeah, and
years.
then
Just
even when Truly had her kidney disease,
they didn't have insurance."
kidney failure, and they had no insurance.
Mhm.
And Christine says we were in her book says we
Yeah.
were between insurance policies. That's bullshit.
I think this is one of their lines, one of their again, I think this is the plural marriage line, and this is where Janelle gets into this whole thing about how Utah has really tough laws about plural families and trying to prevent them from abusing the systems. And but at the same time, whether they have harsh laws or not, it again, it doesn't I don't care who's configured in what this situation
You
is. You
can
guys
buy a
raw
policy.
you guys intentionally had all these children knowing that you couldn't get them all insured.
But also, you can you can buy an insurance policy for anybody,
Mhm.
okay? For a child to buy like a catastrophic policy, that
Mhm.
has a really high deductible for something like
Yeah.
that, the surgery or whatever, would probably cost like I don't know, $50 a month.
Mhm.
It's it may and I know they didn't have the $50 a month, but it's
Yeah.
like, but you gotta do it. It's not like we're talking about you'd have to pay thousands and thousands a
But
month. But
times
still, with a lot of
12,
kids,
times
50, 50,
13?
yeah, 50
Yeah.
times. 13, it does add up, but I'm
But
sorry, that's a priority. That's a priority over a Lexus convertible.
yeah, I was just gonna say, whatever the Lexus convertible payments were every month was that health insurance.
Yeah,
Sure,
absolutely.
that's what it was. So,
Absolutely.
but this rewriting of like, "Oh, just 2 months." I'm like, "Oh, shut up. It was longer than that."
Yeah.
But, yeah, we get into this whole thing about back to the traditions and, what's happening with the traditions, and Robyn was the one that they were decorating cookies. Christine's really trying to get these activities going, and nobody else in the family is at all interested as much as she is, poor
Yeah.
thing.
Christine was really kind of annoying during this
Yeah,
episode.
she
She
was.
was, like, trying to force the activities, forcing people to sing in the round, and,
Mm,
no one was into it. Everyone was just like, "Okay, whatever."
yeah. But we learned that Robyn, I guess, had this cookie party every year, a couple days after Thanksgiving that set off the season. And then they talk about, traditions and Meri making the pajamas, and
Mhm.
we see those old clips. And this was my favorite was Robyn. Robyn says, "Well, I kept the pajama tradition," and I'm like, "You bought all those pajamas?"
Yeah.
I'm like, "No,
You
this is not
bought
the
those at
same thing."
Target. Yeah.
Yeah, I'm sorry, but buying a bunch of sets of pajamas to give to your kids is very different than hand making every single pair for each kid.
Mhm.
I
Right.
was like, "Oh, yeah, great."
Whatever, Robin.
And then, yeah, Christine's like, "Well, when I left Kody, I stopped all these traditions." And all right. Okay,
Okay.
now
We
we gotta
gotta
go back
meet
to Flagstaff.
we gotta meet Brody, but here's the thing is that they're acting like they've never met the guy, which is clearly
Mhm.
untrue. And you
Yes.
see when he comes over, everybody's very comfortable with him. Saul like greets him at the door and says, "Hey," I
Mhm.
mean, and Aurora's very comfortable with him. They hold hands, they're affectionate, they're all hugged up. I mean, this guy's been coming around for months and months now.
Mhm. Well, also, you can tell that Cody's really annoying is that
Mhm.
he is being so annoying to her. She's just trying to do the dishes. She's trying to do the dishes and
Right.
he's like, "Are you nervous? Brody's coming over." Cody's like, "Well, I think I just want to be his buddy." And then through being his buddy, I'm going to learn a lot about him. I'm like, "No, you just want a friend. You just
This
want
is
a goddamn friend.
inappropriate. This
You want to."
boundaries, Cody, boundaries.
And then they're like, "Oh, Aurora's running. Oh, she's all amped up. Are you nervous, Aurora?" It's like, "Dear God." Like, it's still uncomfortable. It's still a lot to have you, even if you've met a few times, this is now on television, you're kind of declaring it to the world. Like, can you have some chill for a
Yeah.
goddamn minute and give her a break? But then again, we're back to Kody. Are you nervous? Are you excited? Cody's like, I get nervous sometimes when I come home from a trip. And Robyn sort of says something like, "Oh, because it's been so long." And then I think Kody says he says something to the effect of like, he's so excited to come back because he's so hot for Robyn that he
Yeah.
can't stand it. And
That scene, what the he looked at her like he wanted to eat her.
yeah.
Okay, and he's like, "Yeah, I get nervous when I come back." And what I think what she said was, "Oh, because it's been a while."
Mhm.
You know, like he wants to come home and get down.
Yeah.
I mean, and that scene was super weird and uncomfortable, and they're doing it right in front of everyone in the kitchen.
And when he says from a trip, are you talking about like you've gone away for a week or so or not? Are you talking about like when I went to my other 3 wives, I'd get super excited like tomorrow's Robin's day. So I gotta,
Oh, that's a
is
good
it
question.
that?
Yeah. What
Like
is he
I did
talking
not
about? Is he talking
know.
about recently or
Yeah,
because
it's because you
and
guys
where's he
never not
going?
apart. You guys are always together. What
Right.
trips are you taking?
The only thing I can think of is like if he went to a gun show or
Oh, yeah,
something
that's
and
right.
so I don't
But
know. But God,
again,
he's so sprung on her.
and that's the thing. And the way she's looking at I'm trying to figure her out because she does say something to the effect of like every time we talk about Aurora's romance, you want to talk about ours. You want to
Mhm.
do that. And again, I think this is Kody. There's too much attention for this other person. I'm not getting enough attention, so let's bring it back to me. But I
Mhm.
also wonder about Robyn of are you this are you acting like this because you find are you uncomfortable? Are you acting like this because this is just new and you aren't allowed to show affection to him? are you acting like this because you're really annoyed by him? Because to me, I get this, she just seems very like, oh God, will this guy shut up? Like,
Mhm.
stop.
I think it's an act for the camera. I
Mm,
think on camera, she tries to look like this long-suffering,
mm,
loyal wife. She does not feel comfortable being flirty with him. This is the most flirty in this episode she's ever been,
yeah.
and it really
It
wasn't
was
much.
painful. Yeah.
Yeah, it wasn't a lot, and she's so hyper aware. She's not being herself. Neither
Yeah.
one of them are, you
Yeah.
know? I mean, he can't help himself. His true nature always comes out, but it's so performative.
Ugh,
All of
the whole
this
thing was
is
gross.
so performative
So
and
finally,
gross.
Brody's here, but whoa, wait, we got to go to New York because Meri and Jen are still filming themselves all over the
We
city.
we don't wanna miss anything at the Winter Wonderland
I was like, what is this
Christmas
place that
market.
they found? Yeah, I
I
guess
don't
it's some kind of
know.
like, and then she wanted to go ice skating, but she can really get into this ball pit. And then they're laughing. I mean, I'm
Ugh.
sorry, saying balls over and over again is not funny. It's not a joke. It's not funny. Balls, balls, ball. It's like,
That's something, yeah, like 13-year-old boys would, like, be joking about.
yeah. And even 13-year-old
Uh,
year old boys, I think, wouldn't even be joking about it. I think they'd be even a little more sophisticated.
yeah.
But yeah, we go into this whole thing about how Jen's the one that really has helped Meri and urged her to travel. I
Mhm.
mean, I feel like Jen should be
Travel
running
alone.
Worthy Up.
Yeah.
You know who
Yeah.
should be running Worthy Up? Jen.
Yes.
Because she's the one that's been helping Meri worthy up for a decade now. But she's like, "Yeah, I told you to go, and the first time you went away somewhere, it was like Lake Havasu, and you went away for a night." And I think that's great advice. And Mary's like, "Yeah, I had to get home right away." But it was like, good. Meri sat with the discomfort of, "Yeah, you're alone. And now what are you
Mhm.
gonna do?" You know?
Mhm.
And I think that helped her see that. And then Kody talks about, he's like, "Well, I don't remember." He says something about like, "I don't know about that trip to Lake Havasu." I'm like, "Yeah, because you weren't there.
Yeah, you weren't paying attention.
And you weren't paying attention that she went, not you."
Mhm.
Um, but he claims that Meri would disappear and we wouldn't know where she was. And Mary's like, "Kody didn't know because he wasn't around.
Right. He
Jen was her
wasn't
only support
talking
system."
to her. Yeah.
Yeah.
Ooh, okay, well,
And then
Brody's here.
yeah, and this is where we learn that Meri changes her location. But she thought there would be better men to choose from in New
Yeah.
York, which sorry.
Okay,
Okay,
so
Brody.
Brody's here. Aurora runs to the door and she says, "Hi, handsome."
Yeah,
It's
she's
like,
real
"Oh,
comfortable.
okay." Yeah, they're real familiar. Like I said, Saul is like waving and walking towards him, and he and Cody seem familiar too. So,
Mhm.
I don't know why they couldn't just admit that,
Yeah.
this guy's
Well,
been around for a while.
Brody is a cowboy, which I
Yeah.
actually did not expect. That was not at all what I kind of thought Brody was gonna be a little nerdy.
Mm.
But, Brody is a cowboy with cowboy hat, full-on cowboy hat,
Mhm.
cowboy boots. He's got horses, and of
He's
course,
a he's on lives on a ranch.
yeah,
Yeah.
and Cody is
And he plays the
creaming his
guitar.
jeans right
Yes.
now. He is creaming his
Yes.
jeans. He's like, "God, I've been missing someone since Caleb. Oh, this is Caleb 2.0. This can be my Caleb." 'Cause Cody's thinking about when he and Brody can go, rustle up some horses and, he can talk to him about ranching and cattle. Cody
Yeah.
can't wait for
They
this.
probably have already done that.
Mhm.
I bet you Cody has been hanging out at Brody's ranch this whole time. Uh,
Yes.
and
So,
something I noticed throughout all these scenes with Cody and Robyn, Cody calls Robyn mom. Like he refers to her as
yeah,
mom,
yeah.
even if he's just talking directly to her.
Mhm.
He'd be like, "Hey, mom," you know,
Mhm.
not like, "Oh, like your mom," or "Go ask mom." I don't know. I was like, "This is weird."
Yeah, it is.
So they're gonna do a bonding activity. They're gonna decorate a tree, a small fake Christmas tree.
But downstairs, no, but it's not the main tree that's downstairs.
Right.
For people that just moved in, they seem to be pretty moved in.
Yeah, they've got
That's
all
why this
those.
timeline is so
Yeah.
bizarre. Like, how moved I mean, because it seems like you guys all claim you're in boxes, but you seem pretty settled in. Like, the Christmas tree was all out,
Mhm.
decorated. So they're gonna decorate Christmas trees that are going up in the game room upstairs.
Mhm.
Okay.
But that room seemed empty. There didn't seem
Yes.
to be anything in there, at least what we could
Yes.
see. Um, but, "Oh, no, the tree is too small." But Robin has another she just goes to the garage to where all this crap is and gets
Well,
another one.
no, she said that she was like, "I don't know where the other tree is." I think she bought 2 of those trees, and I think she didn't realize how small they were. Because I don't think she
Mm.
went to the garage and got anything. She basically said, "Well, this is what we gotta work with."
Yeah, well, whatever. Again,
Yeah,
this
it's
whole
they're
thing is just
ugly fake trees
stupid.
that are flocked already. I'm like,
Yeah,
"Do
and
they
they're
really
just
need to be
putting s
decorated?" Oh.
well, yeah, I don't know. She had all her QVC decoration kit, her tree kit, and, she needed to use it, and
Yeah,
oh,
well,
and then
this is when they talk about this is where Cody says, "Well, I'm not a planner."
oh, really? God,
No
that's
shit.
kinda surprising.
And he said, "But Robin's more of a planner, but Robin didn't get the right tree, blah, blah, blah."
Oh, and then somehow, a bag of mistletoe
Ugh,
appears.
but it wasn't. You know what I mean? Everyone was like, "No." Robin's like, "That's not mistletoe." Everyone's like, "No." He's like, "No, I think it's mistletoe. It's berries of mistletoe." I'm like, "Oh, dear God, don't do this, Cody. Don't do this. Don't do this." Because is Aurora supposed to be kissing Brody?
Right, in front of the kids.
Well, at all, number 1, but in front of the kids,
Right.
and then so what you're looking for so if she's not allowed to kiss him, then you're really talking about you, and you're looking for something to give you an excuse to shove your tongue down Robin's throat at this moment in time in front of your children.
Mhm. Well, yeah, and he has to mention that Robin is shy.
Yes.
Kody is not. So, he just loves being affectionate with her. He loves PDA.
Yeah. He says, "I just love affection." And I'm like, "No." I said, "You want attention and you want your ego stroked
Mhm.
all the time. If
Mhm.
it is not being stroked all the time, you get uncomfortable and unhappy. And then that's when you have to, you know, pick, pick,
Yeah.
pick, pick."
Yeah.
All right. So
Well,
then is this where we get into the pocket knife?
yeah,
Because this was the weirdest thing ever.
I forget how this comes up, but Aurora says that she has a pocket knife, which was a gift from Brody.
So it
And
comes up
then
because Cody asks Brody, they need some sort of knife. And he goes, "Oh, well, you must have a pocket knife, right, Brody?" And Brody's like, "Well, not on me." And Aurora's like, "Well, I have a pocket knife. Here you go." He gave it to me. Brody gave it to me.
mhm. Yeah, and then Kody gets into this really weird thing about how does Brody protect Aurora from himself?
Yes.
And then Cody says, when you're just dating, you're kissing another man's wife until she's your wife. And the reason he believes in chastity is because you shouldn't take away something that doesn't belong to you. Now we're hearkening back to Robin's
Mhm.
issues of someone taking her purity when
Yes.
it didn't belong to them,
Mhm.
even though she, you know, gave it to them. I mean,
And you
anyway,
produced a child from it
yeah,
too. I
let's
mean,
not
poor
even go
Dayton.
there. That's just so crazy. And then he just starts this lecture of, he says, when you're protecting a girl, like I want to protect Robin, when I'm protecting her from myself, I'm trying to protect her from being hurt by me. What does that mean?
I don't know. I mean, he goes into this whole thing about right like because the other part of this too is okay, so Brody you need to protect Aurora, but you also need to protect Aurora from yourself. So, but again,
Meaning don't make her have sex with you
yeah,
um at all, because if you do that, then I don't know, something bad's going to happen.
I don't know. I mean, he's not threatening anything, but he's also kind of making it a little bit like poor Brody is just like, who is this
I
nut?
know this guy.
I think, but it's a little bit like this idea of men can't help themselves.
Mhm.
Men can't help themselves. They don't have control. And so therefore, right, it's about being
Mhm.
pure and you need to protect that and you need to like it's so misogynistic and old fashioned and ridiculous. That
Well, and
Aurora
he's
can't make decisions herself.
right, and that's the thing. And it's because it's his daughter. Like,
Mhm.
obviously, he wouldn't be saying it if the tables were turned. He wouldn't care. But yeah, that whole idea that, you know, men can't help themselves, that
Mhm.
that's their singular goal, that's all they want, and and also that women don't want it at all.
Yeah. Yeah.
And it's like women shouldn't want it. They
And
shouldn't want it until they're married. And if you want it before you're married, then there's something wrong with you. And so, of course, Aurora's not going to want this. So don't try to take it from her. I mean,
mhm.
yeah, what year are we in, you know?
Yeah. It's like, yeah, well, shouldn't you be saying that to everybody everywhere? Don't take, it's not your place to.
Right.
Yeah, it's not Brody's place. It's not like it's wrong. You should not be taking anything from someone that they're not willing to
No, of
give
course
you.
not. I don't care if they're 16,
Yeah.
22, 45. I mean, but yeah, this idea that this is religion, and this is what messes people
Mhm.
up, because people in these religions refuse to accept. Teenagers have been having sex since the beginning of time.
Yeah.
Teenagers have sex. They are sexual, and they're that's never going to change. That's never going to end. And so better
Mhm.
to just arm your teenagers with information and tools and support, and hope for the best.
Yeah.
That's all you can do.
Yeah.
You know?
And it might not even be sex, but kids are fooling around. They're
Right. Well, that's
exploring,
what
they're
I mean.
figuring
Any
things
sort
out.
of
Like,
activity. Yeah.
yeah, yeah. So it doesn't always mean sex, but it can mean a lot of different things. So then this
Mhm.
is where Kody says, I kept my hands off of Robyn until we were married,
Bullshit.
which is bullshit because didn't we see the two of you? So is kissing part of that too? That's what I wanted to know. And
Mhm.
Kody says, well, we were older. Robyn and I were older, and I had an outlet. Um,
Yeah. He
with
had an
whom?
outlet with his other
Other
wives.
wives,
Yeah.
okay. Um, and then he goes into this whole thing of like, well, don't you want to be in a relationship with someone that you're so cool with them that afterwards you can become friends? And then it's like they can be in your life and then you can say, hey, huh?
Wha
What?
Well, shouldn't you be friends before you get married? What is he talking about?
Well, but this is the other thing too is yeah, people might break up and yeah, you were always friends, but then you break up and you're like, well, I guess we're not going to still be friends. There's certain people that you just like you dated that you just aren't going to be friends with. Like
Mhm.
it's just the weirdest thing, but he starts going down a rabbit hole of something that you're like, you
Mhm.
don't even know where you're going and where it's coming from. But it's all this, it's his stupid gobbledygook that again, I think was revered and thought of as genius and intelligent. And now he's realizing, oh crap, I don't know what the hell I'm talking about.
Right, because he's just spouting gobbledygook. They're just standing there looking at him, staring at him. And
Mm-hmm.
again, they were kind of holding hands, and the camera pans to their hands, and I'm like,
Mm-hmm.
was searching for a ring, didn't see one. Um and yeah, and and he's saying all this in front of the little kids.
Mm-hmm. These
You know,
littles that you think are so
the
precious and can't,
tenders.
the
Yeah,
tenders.
you're talking about sex
Mm-hmm.
basically in front of the tenders. I don't
Mm-hmm.
know where Brianna was.
Yeah. I think Brianna's like, I gotta get out of here.
Brianna's going the way of Dayton. She's like, "I can't
She's
anymore
like,
with this."
"Dayton, where do you live? I gotta get
Right.
there. I
Can
know
I
this house is huge, but I can't with these people
what
anymore."
room are you staying in? Can I please come stay with you? Yeah, I mean, this was just painful to
Oh,
watch,
all of
quite
it was.
frankly.
Well, and then Kody gets into this whole thing about how he was less discriminating with Tony, with Mitch, with Caleb. I'm
Yes.
like, "Bullshit.
What
Discriminating. You love Caleb. You loved Caleb until Caleb saw right through you. You used to love Caleb. What do you mean discern? You loved Caleb.
less discriminating, meaning like they were somehow he
Like
didn't care
he
about their
didn't care.
quality,
Yeah.
that he cares about the quality of man that Aurora is gonna be with. He didn't really
Yes.
care so much what the quality of a husband for McKelty or Maddie,
Mhm. Well,
or
and he
Aspen.
claims it's because this is a different story because, I mean, I've been through all these divorces and Robin's been through a divorce. And because he's so wise. Now that he's had all these divorces, he's so wise about relationships. He's so smart about
Mhm.
relationships that he knows now that you really should, vet the person that you're going to marry. It's like, okay, Cody,
Wow.
what a concept, what an idea. I'm like, no. But I mean, that's the thing. It's a little bit like what he really needed to say was, I I, um, I realize now that you need to really know someone for a bit of time before you marry
Mhm.
them. And when it came to Mitch and Tony and Caleb, that all happened really fast. And looking back, maybe I should have said something or had a thought. But again, none of these women were consulting him about these men. Like
Mhm.
Aspen, none of these three of his daughters talked to him at all and
No, they
said,
just said, "I'm
"Yeah,
getting
I'm getting
married."
married. Peace out."
Yeah.
So,
And
um, let's
then
see.
Robyn invites, Brody for Christmas.
Yes.
And then Kody says, "Hey, mommy, you want to spend Christmas with a special guy?
Ugh.
'Cause I think you're a special girl." And then this is weird. Saul pushes his way in and says, I'm that guy now."
Ooh. Ugh, this family
Oh
is really,
God,
really you guys need to
Freud.
get out
We need
more.
to
You
like
guys
what
need
is the
new
Freudian meaning of this?
Yes. Well, Brody's the first one, I think. He's the one that said, "Oh, it's a special day with my special girl." And that's when Cody's like turns to Robin, "Do you want a special day with a special
Hey,
girl?" It's like,
mommy. Yeah.
can you let her have this moment?
Right.
Do you know what I mean? Like, this is what I kept
Yes.
thinking was like, here's this guy, and she's 22, and she met this guy, and she really likes him. He seems to be a good guy, and he really likes her. He's doing all the things that you want him to
Yeah.
do. He says, "I'd like to spend the special day with a special girl." Why can't she have this moment? That's what I kept thinking. Like, let her have a
Yeah.
moment. But no, Cody cannot let anyone have a moment.
No. And in fact, he's in competition now with
Yes,
Aurora.
yes. Now
You
you're in
know,
competition with these two people.
right. You're in competition with your daughter and her boyfriend. You want to show everyone that your relationship with Robin is just as cute and special
And hot and
and hot and
fiery, and
heavy. Yeah, I mean, it's like this is disgusting.
it
This is
is.
really um yeah.
And this is where we get the talking head of Cody saying, about how Robin is shy and we haven't been able to show affection. And he's like, the whole
Mhm.
time always so worried about, be careful, don't show the world that we've got this thing. It's like, guess what, Cody? We already knew. We
Right, like they had to
already
hide it.
saw it.
Yeah.
You weren't
Yeah,
great
you
about
weren't
hiding
hiding
it.
it. You weren't. And
But
I
but
wrote
sorry,
oh, go
but
ahead.
this is again is also performative. This is also part of
Yeah.
because you have to then remind us, I was so hot and heavy for this woman. You know what I mean? It's like he's his ego is so fragile that he's been rejected by these three women that he claims he didn't love, that he
Right.
has to continually remind us over and over again, but I am loved. I am
Mhm.
loved and wanted and desired by this one woman. And
Right.
it's so intense and so special. Sorry.
Yeah.
I just had to
I
get that
know.
out.
And then just it's so uncomfortable this whole thing and then Saul and Ari are just Ari, she's just become a background character. Like
Yeah.
she used to be more vocal. Like she's now just you don't hear a peep out of her and she's just kind of in the background. But she's taking this all in.
Yeah.
And that's not good.
Yeah, it'll
But
be
yeah, I
very
want to
interesting to see what happens with Saul and Ari in the future.
I know. Um so yeah, so they decorate their two little trees and then Robin says, "Let's go have some eggnog." And then, and then Cody says, "I believe Aurora is dating with intention." Okay, Cody, yeah, we know. But I want to say something about this Brody,
Yes.
because some photos have surfaced.
Oh, no.
And look, I don't know anything about I don't know anything about Brody. I have nothing bad to say about Brody, but it's just I think it's just interesting. I guess there were some photos on his Instagram
Mhm.
of he and Aurora and cute like flirty kind of photos. And then there was a photo of her like holding this big AR-15.
Oh, God.
Yeah.
Ugh.
And there were, I think, 2 gun pictures of her with a gun. and maybe one with them both in a gun, but there was definitely one with just her and this gun, and she's posing and smiling. Um, and I think was he in the military? Did they say that?
No, I don't remember them mentioning that.
Okay. So, well, he's a cowboy. We know that. So I
Yeah.
don't know. I mean, I hope he is a good guy, and
I think there's
I hope she's
whole
happy.
groups of people out there that their whole feeds are these guns. Do you know what I mean? I think
Yeah.
it's shocking to us because we don't
Right.
know anybody and no one would pose. But
No, I know.
again, I
I
think,
know it's not like an unusual thing at all.
hmm
It just was kind of shocking to see our little Aurora,
yeah,
you know, uh posing with a gun.
yeah,
But I guess it shouldn't be because, her father is involved with guns.
hmm yes.
And, there is a whole like gun culture, but I don't know.
So
We'll see.
yeah, then we go back to Greenville where Christine's trying to get everyone to do a round robin. That would have annoyed me to no end. I'm
Yeah.
with Janelle on this. Like, I don't want to sing. And so then at the end, we
Oh,
see
this was so
everybody.
weird.
Yeah, everybody's in their own little group. So Christine
Like
and
the Brady
David,
Bunch,
yeah,
like the
Kody and
Luxes.
Robyn and um Robyn, Kody, M- Meri and Jen, her partner,
Mhm.
and then Janelle by herself. And they're all supposed to be singing and merry and oh, it's the holidays and throwing like fake snow up in the air.
Yeah, and they've got like Santa hats and different like Christmas stuff on.
Yeah, it was a
That
little
was
weird.
that was very weird. It was very corny and never been done on this show before, and
Hmm
so I don't know. That was
Yeah.
weird.
Whew, all
Um,
right, what an episode. Okay, so I'm going to talk about Janelle's thing now.
oh, do you want to do the next time
Oh
on?
yeah, do the next time on. Sorry.
Okay, so Kody says we're going to close on Coyote Pass soon. So I guess that was the sale that Meri was referring to. Um, and then of course Jen is asking Meri, does your money from the sale go through Kody's hands? And she says, it better not. And then Kody has a Zoom with Janelle and Meri. Sure,
Yeah,
that
and I
went
think both
well.
of them are just like, "Hey, what's up?" And he's like, "Why aren't you two?" He's upset that they're not like, "Ooh, Kody, hi, how are you?" Like so excited
Mhm.
to see him.
Right. Um, let's see. And then Christine asks David, would he ever hang out with Kody? And David's like, sure. And then Kody says, he got an email from an interested potential sister wife.
Again, this
Whatever.
is like,
You wish.
yeah. All
Okay.
right.
So let's hear about Janelle's
Yes. So
second chapter.
Yes. So Janelle has been doing a series. I mean, I don't know how many more she's doing, but I guess this is the second one she's done of these half-hour workshops for and they're all live, which I think is smart. They're not taped. So I think it is smart for her to do them live because it really does force, I mean, it forced me. Like I had to show up
Mhm.
on time and be there. And I just want to say off the bat, like Janelle's a much better coach than Meri is. Like she is warm, she's inviting, she's very personable. Like you like her instantly. Like if I didn't know who she was and she was just someone who was doing this coaching, I liked her instantly. She was very kind. She tells us that she has been coaching for nearly a decade, that
Hmm.
she's certified health coach, and that she got her life coaching certificate from the Coach firm. I don't know what that is. And she's currently working on a trauma informed certificate. Now, again, I'm not going to sit here and say that this isn't a lot, but I too have some of these certificates. It really is like to get a certificate from like UC Berkeley Extension, which I've gotten, it's like 6 classes. Do you know what I mean? It's it's
Mhm.
it's a certificate. It,
Mhm.
it's not a ton. So, but basically her whole thing is she goes into this whole thing about how this is the second chapter of her life. She's built this new chapter. It's not at all what she thought it was going to be. She's not here to talk about the show. So she does lay that
Mhm.
out, talk about her family or the show. This is not a PR stunt. That this is about, she wants to help people find their confidence, and that she wants to help women rewrite the stories that hold them back. And so the other thing too is so I did this too at one point where there's this this quote unquote formula of, if you want to sell a course, then the thing that you do is you do a webinar where there's a certain way in which you go down the list of things, where you go in and then you introduce what it is, and then you have to show what your expertise is. That's Janelle telling us about the coaching certificates.
Mhm.
And then, you're going in and then you're telling people like what this is not. And then you're telling people who this is for so that they can visualize themselves. And then she followed that
Mhm.
to a T. Like I was like, oh, you have this whole, like they had you do this.
Yeah.
So, and she goes into this whole thing. This is the formula. She wants to, are you a woman redefining yourself in this next chapter? Is your decade, but you don't know how to make it happen in your life? I want to share, and she wants to share what she can do for you. I'm like, great. So she then she says, I'm what I can do for you. And this is the other thing about these webinars that drive me crazy is they tease this and they tease this and they tease this to the point where you're actually shooting yourself in the foot. Because if Janelle at that moment just jumped into it and gave me a lot of good information, I think I would feel a little differently. But it was like, well, this is not, this what we're doing here, this isn't about a spa day, this is not about affirmations or platitudes, and we're now 12 minutes in. Like this is
Mhm.
all we've gotten. And all the while she's sort of talking to people in the chat. She's like, oh, everybody put your cameras on and put, say where you're from in the chat and how old you are and all of these things. So I could see the chat rolling along, and these are some of the things that people wrote in the chat. One just left an abusive marriage after 24 years. Another
Mm.
woman has severe medical issues that are kind of make her bedbound. And then another person says, I'm estranged from my adult children.
Ugh,
These are not second act things. I just want
no.
to say this. These are not coaching and life coaching things. And so this is the difference is that kind of stuff would scare the crap. I'd be like, oh crap. Like that's the stuff. And it's like, she's just like, oh yeah, how could this all go wrong? So, again, she goes into this whole thing. You've told that you have to be this kind of person, but now it's time for you to pivot. Your second act is your best part over and over and over again. Okay. So finally, we're about 15 to 20 minutes in. She wants to give us her first tip, her first big thing. So her first tip is that not all of our thoughts are true.
Okay.
And that we are not our thoughts. And she does get into like coaching is not therapy. Coaching is based on real science. And basically what she's saying is she's like, I have this paradigm thing, this exercise. This is a cognitive behavioral technique. And I'm like, yeah, these are all cognitive behavioral techniques that are all based in science. Yeah. So she just went to some life coaching thing that basically took the core of CBT and just
Mhm.
that's what a lot of these life coaches do. They take CBT and then they bastardize it and they have no idea what it is and what they're really doing. But okay. So she gets into this whole thing of like, how it is, you step on the scale and depending on the number, it can really change your mood. You have to think about things in terms of, our brains aren't always right. And that's simply a story or interpretation of what that piece of information is. She's not wrong. Like whatever the number is on the scale, that's a fact. Doesn't mean you're good or bad or anything like that. She's absolutely right. And she's like, well, what if you chose a different thought? And then she goes into this whole thing of like, you don't have to spend all this time in therapy. This is different than therapy. Um, she then talks about how 3.5 years ago, she was planning on selling everything, becoming a nomad, going into an RV. She thought it was too late for her. And then she had this idea of this flower farm. And then she kind of goes into this whole story about, that we all watched her go through of like, yeah, I
Mhm.
started to do this and I thought it was this. And then this thing happened. I'm like, this is not groundbreaking. Like what
Mhm.
happened with you, the way in which you did this is not groundbreaking. And she admits, she said, there were so many thoughts that I had about myself that were keeping me stuck. And then she says, well, you know what? But you might be thinking, again, part of the formula, I'm not like you, Janelle. I don't have a reality show. I can't take time off of work or I can't do this kind of stuff. And then she goes, but what's the cost? And so they want you to get into the cost. The cost is that, you're going to lose the opportunity to have the life that you want. The cost, it's all the cost is your life is shitty. The cost is you're living with
Mhm.
Kody Brown. You're still married to Kody Brown, right?
God.
She's like, you know, this isn't about rah rah. You need a plan of action, which she's not wrong about, and I'm going to give you the tools to move with clarity. And then this is also part of the formula. She starts talking about these women that um that she's worked with. Now, she didn't do the thing that she needed to do, which is you need to give a case study when you tell people like this is who this person was, this is what they came in with, this is how I treated them, and then this is the outcome. That's a case study, like what you did to change this person. She just basically reads 3 or 4 testimonials of people who worked with her and wrote her nice testimonials, which is all well and good, but that doesn't tell me jack shit because I get testimonials all the time. Like testimonials really don't tell you anything. Anybody, you can get a testimonial from anyone about anything. It's not much of anything. Like you're not proving to me that you know what you're doing. You're just proving that you got people to say, you were good at this.
Mhm.
And then like we get into this whole thing about this other person. Um, and then she goes into the decision point and she's all these new skills and becoming a watcher of your thoughts. And then it's all of this goes on and on, not changing what you're thinking. You need to think about things with curiosity and compassion. Imagine, and then she has everyone do this thing where close your eyes and imagine 1 week from today, and you said yes to this offer, and what would your life be like if it was, this thing, because she's got this system. She keeps talking about her system out of reactive mode. So her system is essentially what she's selling like a monthly, she's basically selling a community, an online community where you pay a certain amount of money every month to be part of her community. So for the second chapter basic, you get every once a month there'll be a workshop where she's going to teach you a skill. Once a month there'll be a workbook. I don't know if that's part of the workshop. 2 live coaching calls a month, a private member podcast just for the private members, and then she's going to have a quarterly guest speaker. So normally, you then have to tell people how much you normally would charge for this.
Mhm.
Normally, would charge $400, but for this right now, you have to act now $97 a month, which I thought
Mm.
was not a bad price. I'll be honest,
No.
like less than $100. But what was interesting was then I started to see the chat, and all of a sudden, people started dropping off, and a lot of the women that were there, they were like, "Oh, I knew there was going to be something there." I was like, "Yeah, what else did you think this
Yeah,
was going to be?
what do you think you're here for?
What do you
Yeah.
think Janelle's just going to sit here and try to tell you about how your thoughts, you don't have to believe all your thoughts?" But I mean, I think that if you are someone who really has not done, if you are absolutely in your second act, you've hit this wall, you are someone who's really never done a lot of work on yourself and never really thought about these things before, I think this would be good. I think it would be good for you, but you're really going to have to do a lot of the work yourself. That's the other part about this is yes, it's $97 a month, but yes, there's live coaching calls, but depending on how many people are in that group, you may not get coached. So you may never get any individual attention. That is possible. So,
Yeah, because those coaching calls, there could be hundreds of people
yeah,
on the call. Yeah, so it's not like a one-on-one thing.
the podcast isn't individualized, the guest
Mhm.
speaker is not individualized, the workshop is not, there's nothing that's really individualized to you. So, it means that you're really going to have to do a lot of the work yourself, really stay on it, do all the things that she's telling you about. Because the two big things that she talked about was how all of your, not all of your thoughts are true. And then the other one was about how, when you need to become a watcher of your thoughts. You need to start to notice what you're thinking. And technically she got those backwards. I just want to say. So first you have to notice your thoughts because you can't change your thoughts until you notice them. But I
Mhm.
just want to say this is kind of what I assess for in the first 20 minutes every time I meet somebody. Like how aware are you of your thoughts? Are you, and then how do you then think about and speak about your thoughts?
Mhm.
It was just, it's again, if you've never done any of this might be groundbreaking, but to me it felt really like,
Well,
okay,
and
not
I
that
I think
groundbreaking.
I also think in my mind there's a credibility issue here
Mhm.
because I find it shocking that she's been a certified coach for 10 years
Yeah.
because we've watched her life on TV and she hasn't always made the best decisions. And yeah, she did leave Kody, but Kody had kind of already left her,
Mhm.
because she was rolling along with him for years,
Yeah.
being kind of content with crumbs. And it was because he made her choose between him and her children. That was
Yeah.
the final straw.
Yeah.
So, okay. that just kind of happened to you. That
Yes.
wasn't something proactive that you decided, you know what? I'm going to leave Kody because I am tired of being treated like this.
Mhm.
That's not what happened. Um,
Yeah.
then she had a series of things, with the living in the RV and like kind of some weird things. And she was struggling.
Mhm.
And but for having Maddie in North Carolina, who's very well established and, she had a place where she could go and
Mhm.
live, she moved in with her.
Yeah.
Like, and this Tata Farms thing, like, it's yet to be seen. Okay.
Mhm.
It's yet to be realized. And, um, we'll see what happens with it. But so far, all she's done is like, made t-shirts, with her funny sayings on them or whatever and sold those. And so, like, I would like normally, if you're trying to sell a program like this, or you got to sell yourself, you got to be
Mhm.
like, look at what I've accomplished. And this is how I accomplished it.
Mhm.
She doesn't really, I'm not trying to be mean about it, but she really has not accomplished this kind of thing that I would look at and go, wow.
Yeah.
Like, you
And
know?
that's yeah, I mean, that's the part that's hard is that you can help people and your life can be a mess. Like there's a lot of therapists
Mhm.
out there that lives are a
Yeah.
messes and they do really good work. This is a thing is that there's sort of these there's either the people that study this and do this for a living, or there are these people that come along, and I've talked about this before, where they have oh, I'm in the public eye. I have a platform. I've been getting these
Mhm.
certificates. I can meld that over into this. I think that's the
Mhm.
thing about Janelle and Meri. It just feels very opportunistic. It's nothing having to do with anything that felt natural. Now, Janelle's trying to sell us on the fact that I've been doing this for 10 years. But it's like, okay, so if you've been doing this 10 years, how did you get to this place where financially this man is really taking advantage of
Yeah.
you? Why didn't you ever, there are some things that have come out, Janelle, that are very surprising and shocking. So if she had maybe addressed some of these things and
Mhm.
explained, what that is.
Yeah, why didn't you speak up about the money? If you
Yeah.
knew that all this money was going to Kody and Robyn, you said nothing.
Yeah.
Let's start there. I mean, yeah, there's a lot of things.
And yeah, and I just think that this is going to be super basic and I think it's going but again, and I am not her target audience. I am not that this isn't for me. I'm around
Mhm.
this age, but I am not her target audience. So again, I think she's very warm. She does these are true concepts that she's talking about. If it is all rooted in CBT, if this is what everything is based on, then it is rooted in science.
Mhm.
But the problem is this, and this is the problem that we keep getting into is there's a big difference between studying these things and doing this a little bit over here with this person and that person and actually doing the work. That's why we get so bent out of shape about all these coaches coming up because we were required to do hour upon hour upon hour. It took me 10 years. Now I had a child in between. I took time off, but it took me 10 years to do everything that I needed to do to become a licensed
Mhm.
therapist. And
Mhm.
so that's the part about it that just makes us all the Jay Shettys and the Mel Robbins of the world. Like this is what makes us all crazy
Yeah.
is that these people wake up, they steal other people's material, not based on what you know. And so that's the other part of it too is what if someone comes with a real issue, Janelle? How are you going to handle this? Like that's that I just don't trust that she knows what to do
No.
with someone who
Who just left a long-term
an
abusive
abusive marriage.
relationship, yeah.
And is she I mean, I hope she says to that person, maybe you need to go find a therapist. This
Right,
is
because
not
this
the place
isn't
for you.
yeah, this is not the place. I mean, it's a good concept
Mhm.
because, yeah, I mean, I'm in this place right now in my life where
Yes.
it's a transition, and I'm like, "Okay, what am I gonna do for the
Mhm.
next 10, 20 years?" And so, yeah, I mean, there's an audience for this kinda stuff.
But there you don't this is the other part of it too is what she you don't need to again it's back to oh because I'm going through a second chapter this is what I'm going to teach or this is what I should teach. It's like but you're still
Right.
going through your second chapter.
Right.
Also, and a lot of times I'll see therapists that they will do this work when they've gone through it. And it's like, well, yeah, they've been doing this for 30 years. Like they've seen all these chapters. They've been here. Like, now they're
Yeah.
doing this. It's
Yeah, Janelle actually is not through her second chapter
no.
at all. She's kinda just started it. She's only been doing this a couple years.
And this all happened to her. Um,
Right.
I in my book, True You, I talk about my own story about like, leaving Hollywood and then coming back here and finding a new career and going through quarter life crisis and all that. And again, I I actually had to do all those things. I went through those things. I actually
Mhm.
did them, got to the other side. So that's the other part of it too is like we don't know what the other side is for you yet,
Mhm.
Janelle. And there is a difference between someone who actively says, "You know what? I want a better life. This is not going to work for me." Like what Christine did. This isn't going to work for me. This is what I want. I'm going to rebuild. And someone who's like, "Oh crap. This RV is not going to work. Oh, wait a second.
Right.
Maybe I'll move in with my daughter." And get land.
Yeah. Yeah.
So
Yeah, no, it's true, and just like with Mary and her, even having that platform, because Mary was, I think she still is very successful with LuLaRoe, but when it
mhm.
came to that Worthy Up
Yes.
stuff, even though she has this huge base, to
Mhm.
work from, that went nowhere. I mean, I think she's still trying to do something with it, but,
Yeah.
it's really not going anywhere, and so people have to look at you and think, "Oh, okay." You know,
Mhm.
I want what you have.
Mhm.
That's
Yes.
if you're selling them something, which she is,
Mhm.
you have to people have to look at you and want what you have,
Yeah, when
period.
you're a health coach, people are looking when you're a trainer, people are looking and
Yeah,
they want your body. They want
right,
your abs. They want all of these things. Yeah,
right.
absolutely. Um, I had one
Wow,
other
how long
thought.
was this
It
thing?
was it was longer than 30 minutes. She did get I think there were 100 I wrote it down, 170 people that participated. That
Uh-huh.
some people did drop off, and then once she came with the offer, a bunch of people dropped off. So again, I give her kudos. I could never get 170 people to show up to one of my things. And this is the whole I think this is just my 2 cents. I think that the life coaching business in this world of these offers and the way in which things have been done, this jumped the shark 6 years ago. And
Mm,
so that's the other thing with Janelle. I'm like, Janelle, why are you doing this now? This is not the thing to be doing. Like, if
yeah,
you want to build this community, you're better off creating a podcast and
right.
building the podcast from there. Or you're better, I mean, there's so many other things that she should be doing if that's what you want to do and build a community. But she's going right to, well, I'm on this platform. I want to build this community, just like what Meri did. This, and again, I think some sort of business coach sold her on the fact you're on Sister Wives. You know how many
Mhm,
people are going to want to sign up for this? They've been watching you. They love you. Like, I
mhm.
know this is how these business coaches have been talking to. I don't think Janelle probably spent the money on a business coach, but she had a team of
Mm,
people. She did.
yeah,
Oh, and she has coaches underneath her too. Apparently, that she's got some other coaches that are part of her team. And so that's the other one too. A lot of these, it did have, I was like, God, is this an MLM? Like, I really hope this is not
mm,
an MLM that she's doing. So I don't know.
wow. Well,
So
thank you,
yeah,
Tess, for
yeah,
your service.
it was, I mean, I took a lot of notes. I paid attention. I try, I
Yeah,
really,
you
really went
did.
into it with like, I'm gonna be open to this, but it's 20 minutes of you talking, 1 minute of something that Brooke, you already know those things that not just because you have a thought doesn't make it true?
Oh, I know that,
Okay.
yeah.
Yeah. I mean, I say
Yeah.
this to people randomly,
Right,
all the time. Like, this is not groundbreaking.
right.
And, yeah,
Yeah.
I don't know. I think this is my problem why I'm not more successful is I feel a tremendous amount of guilt for taking people's time and energy if I'm not gonna give them something really good. Like,
Mhm.
I'm horrible at selling, and I need to get much better at it, but that's the thing, I feel really, like, weird, like, "Okay, take it if you want, if you don't, I'm fine." I hate the whole selling thing, but anyway, so it's just
Mhm.
but if I was gonna do this and I want people to buy something from me, don't I would wanna bedazzle people. I would wanna
Mhm.
tell people something they've never heard before. Like, every time I do a workshop, I try really hard, like, what is something that they cannot
Mhm.
Google? What can I tell you? And I don't know.
Yeah.
So,
Yeah. Wow. Okay.
okay,
Well,
yes.
we'll see how that
Yeah,
goes.
yeah, I think it's gonna be I think she's gonna be more successful than Meri
Yeah.
because I
She's
she is
more
very
likable.
warm, and she is
Yeah.
very warm, very likable, very nurturing.
Yeah.
Absolutely, and really, just like what Christine says, no makeup, looks beautiful, face, the blonde, I mean, all of it. I give her that. I just think she's in over her head a
Yeah.
little bit.
Yeah. All right.
All right then. Okay, woo, gotta wrap it up now. All right. Well, thank you so much
It's
for
been
tuning
an
in if
hour
you're
and a
all
half.
still here. We do have a Patreon. If you are a fan of Sister Wives, we are covering Christine Brown Woolley's book. We just put out episode, I think it's 8.
8?
We're gonna
Yeah.
have probably 9 total. So we really have deep dived into this book. That's on our $8 level. So go check us out. We have a $5 level where you get all the shows ad free plus a weekly bonus. And then if you're part of the $8 level, you get the book club plus a true crime plus an Ask Us Anything. So go check us out there. There's lots of other ways to support us. You can write us a 5-star rating and review. Those are really helpful. Follow us on social media. We're on YouTube, so please subscribe. Tell a friend, tell 2 friends, spread the word of Psycholegal Pop wherever you go.
Mhm.
All right.
Hallelujah.
Yes. Thanks so much, everyone. Bye.
Thank you. See you next time.